3, hit it!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And today I want to talk about something that I was introduced to as the Platinum Rule. And I was trying to think back to where I first heard that description of it. And I'm pretty sure it was in a book that was my best friend when I was about 19 or 20 years old. Now, it's probably a little odd that my best friend when I was 19 or 20 was a book and not a human. But there was a book by Dr. Spencer Johnson called 1 Minute for Yourself. And I've seen it since then, and there are versions of it called 1 Minute for Myself and Yours. I don't know if they just did it differently in different countries or tried changing the title. But the essential message of the book was that we do really well when we take care of ourselves, when we feel cared for in ourselves. And when we don't, we start looking to the outside world to fix us or to pay us back for all the sacrificing and suffering we've done, or some other thing that the outside world just isn't capable of consistently delivering to us. And the book talked about how the golden rule that almost everybody has learned in one version or another is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or as you would have done unto you. But the book suggested that there's a platinum rule of equal or greater value, which is do unto yourself as you would have others do unto you. Do unto yourself as you would have done to you. In other words, what if you don't wait for the world to take care of you? Not in a cynical, well, the world's not going to take care of me, so I'm going to have to take care of myself kind of a way. But in a genuinely caring, loving, kind way. Think about it right now. Think about a person that you would love to do something wonderful for you. And now imagine what it would be like if you could count on yourself to do that for yourself. Now, sometimes when I introduce this notion to people, they don't like it. Right? They go, well, it doesn't count if I do it. It only counts if they do it. And it doesn't count if I tell them to do it. It only counts if they spontaneously do that. And that leads to what I sometimes call secret rules violations. There's an episode of The $6 Million Man when I was a little kid. And the Soviet Union had created a doomsday device, but they'd forgotten to tell anyone that they'd created the doomsday device. And it got triggered because nobody knew not to go where their doomsday device was. And Steve Austin had to save the world. That's basically half the relationships I see in the world, is people have these secret rules that they don't tell anybody about, but woe betide the person who violates the secret rule. Well, what if you really can take care of yourself in a very real and tangible and ongoing way? What if you could be cared for in yourself, regardless of how much or how little other people are doing or willing to do for you, regardless of how much or how little the world seems to be doing to you or for you? In other words, what if it really was up to you to take care of yourself? There's a story I share a lot, or have shared a lot over the years, that Nathaniel Brandon, who was the father of the self-esteem movement, did a course called No One Is Coming. And the point of the course was for people who were waiting to be rescued, that if they could see that no one is coming, then that they could stop waiting to be rescued and get on with their lives. And one of the women in the group apparently said, but Dr. Brandon, you came. And he said, well, yeah, but I only came to tell you that no one is coming. Now, whether or not someone is coming, why wait? Why not do unto yourself right now as you would have others do unto you? And if you're wondering how that works, in a really simple way, try this. Right now, Ask yourself, how can I take better care of myself right now? And whatever comes up, do it. You can pause the recording, or you can let me blather on in the background as you do it. But just take even a minute to simply ask yourself, how can I take better care of myself right now? And do it. Now, what happens, what I've seen happen when we start to take care of our own needs, when we start to be our own best friend, not in despondent reaction to a world that's let us down, but as a recognition that no one will ever know our needs as intimately, our desires as intimately as we can ourselves, then we can be in the world in a relatively needless way. And people do really well when they're needless. And people get really creepy when they're needy. Now, there are two variations on this that I just want to highlight before we finish. And the first is, one of the things that I've found that I can do for myself that really fits the platinum rule, that really is like I would have others do unto me, is I've learned to give myself slack. I've learned to, in fact, cut myself pretty much infinite slack. Now, I am very imperfect at this, but nonetheless, I've realized that constantly judging myself harshly and holding myself to a standard I'm never going to be able to meet is probably not the best way to enjoy my life. So there's a kind of forgiveness, like in America, we have these presidential pardons, where if you've got a presidential pardon, it just completely overrides anything that happened to you before. And imagine that you had like a pre-written universal pardon for anything that you were going to do. Now, sometimes people get scared when I say that, but then I would do awful things. Would you, though? Or would you just not worry about it so much? That's something that you can do for yourself. That wouldn't it be great if others did for you? The thing that I've learned over the years, the reason that I think that book was my best friend for a while, and that was one of the hardest times for me psychologically when I was really dealing with suicidal ideation and depression and all sorts, was I had the experience that I wasn't alone. I had the experience that no matter what happened, I was there with me. And it was a really weird thing. And the way I tried to describe it at the time was sometimes I feel like Michael being loved by God or the universe. And sometimes I feel like God or the universe loving Michael. And that, for me, is the essence of the benefit of applying the platinum rule, doing unto yourself as you would have others do unto you. Like the song says, you'll never walk alone. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk with you soon.